I am 20 years old when I lose everything. My wolf, my pack, my crown, my future. 20 is far too young for a life to be over, but that's what it feels like as I walk beneath the winter moon, a red cloak dragging through frostwood snow. The girl who once ran these paths as an heir, as a predator, as someone, has been carved out of me so neatly that even the trees can't tell who I am anymore. I did this to myself. No rogue attack. No tragic accident. Just one choice I made with my eyes open and my bones shaking, a wish whispered to the wrong kind of magic. The Warden of Wishes had warned me more times than I can count. He warned me when I was 9 and still missing my front teeth, when I stood in the doorway of his hidden lair with my fists balled and demanded a spell to ruin Aldrich Thorn forever. He warned me at 12 when my wolf first snarled awake and I swore I'd trade anything to defeat the Shadow Moon heir. He warned me again and again as I grew taller, stronger, meaner, always returning to that forbidden place at the edge of the city where the lamps never seemed to burn quite bright enough and people pretended not to see the crooked stone stairway leading down. "Careful, little Alpha," he would say, his voice older than dust. "Wishes never leave you as you are." For years, I let him talk me out of it. For years, I left his lair with my anger banked and my wolf pacing just beneath my skin, and I told myself I didn't really need magic to deal with Aldrich Thorn. But 3 nights ago, I went back to the warden's door under a full moon and a sky sharp as broken glass. The streets were empty, the frostwood looming black beyond the last of the lanterns. Even the air felt like it was holding its breath. This time, I didn't let him talk. I pushed into that cramped stone chamber that smells of cold iron and old blood and slammed my palm on his table. My cloak was still stained with Aldrich's blood, my throat still burning where his teeth had grazed it, my brother's scream still ringing in my skull. "Save him," I told the warden. "I know the price. Take it." He did. He reached into the place where my wolf lived, into the part of me that was claw and instinct and moonsong, and tore it out as easily as a thorn from a paw. I knew what I was giving up. I'd recited the terms so many times in my head that they'd become a prayer. But nothing prepared me for the silence that followed. The quiet in my veins where the howl used to be. The way the pack's emotions cut off all at once, leaving me standing in a crowd of people I'd known all my life and feeling like a stranger wearing Lyra Vale's face. The way my brother looked at me and flinched, as if the sister he'd grown up with had died and some fragile human ghost had stepped into her skin. It hurt to leave the Bright Pine compound. It hurt to walk past the training grounds where I earned my scars, the council hall where I'd once stood with my head high while elders spoke of my future as Alpha. It hurt to hug Rowan and feel nothing through the bond that used to tether us, to press my hand to his chest and know I would never again hear his heartbeat the way a wolf hears it, layered with scent and emotion and history. I had been born to lead. Now, thanks to the wish I forced on the warden and the boy who drove me to make it, I am no one. Because of that spell. Because of Aldrich Thorn. Because I chose his life over my own. The snow crunches under my boots as I move deeper into the frostwood. Mist curls around my ankles, branches reach like dark claws overhead. Once, my own wolf would have padded at my heels, silver gray and sure, sharing every breath, every scent, every pulse of the night. Tonight, there is only the memory of her, a phantom presence at my back. And beneath that, the echo of another wolf entirely, the one whose golden eyes have haunted me since childhood. The one I swore I'd outrun, outfight, outlive. The one my heart chose long before my mind could admit it. Aldrich Thorn, Shadow Moon heir. My rival. My almost mate. The reason my veins are empty and my future is gone. If I close my eyes, I can still feel his hand in my hair, his breath against my throat, the moment where hate bled into something far more dangerous. I can still hear Rowan's snarl, see the flash of the venom-forged blade, smell the copper flood of Aldrich's blood on my skin. I bartered my wolf to keep that heartbeat going. Now I am walking away from everything I was meant to be, cloaked in the color of the alpha I'll never become, carrying a secret the warden tasted before I did, a new life blooming inside me that will belong to the wolves even if I do not. My life ended 3 nights ago in that underground lair. But my story didn't start there. It started 12 years earlier, long before wishes and war blades and forbidden kisses, back when I still believed I'd spend the rest of my life hating Aldrich Thorn. I am 8 years old the first time I meet him on the Bright Pine Shadowmoon border, and I decide then and there that I will dedicate my future to wiping that smug, golden-eyed grin right off his face. Subscribe now so you're here for every turn this story takes. Grown-ups call it a disputed hunting ground. To me, it's a strip of mud between 2 trees where Rowan promised to show me how to break a boy's nose. Remember, my brother murmurs, crouched beside me in the ferns, he's older, so you don't fight fair. You fight smart. I always fight smart, I whisper back, even though my heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. Across the clearing, a cluster of Shadowmoon wolves in training are pretending not to look nervous while their instructor lectures them about discipline and border law. The other Bright Pine kids are behind me, half curious, half terrified, because Shadowmoon has a reputation, ruthless, fast, never backs down. Their heir stands a little in front of the others, as if he can't help it. Aldrich Thorn is all elbows and legs at this age, black hair sticking up like he lost a fight with a storm, tunic already stained with dirt and sap. He's barefoot, toe nudging at something in the mud while the adults talk. Bored. Restless. Like the forest is whispering to him and he'd rather be running than listening. I hate him instantly. Not because he's Shadowmoon. Not because I'm supposed to. I hate him because when his eyes lift and lock onto mine across the clearing, they flare gold for a split second, as if his wolf is closer to the surface than mine will be for years, and he knows it. His mouth crooks sideways. He grins. Now, Rowan breathes. I stand, shoulders back the way our mother taught me, and walk straight into the no-wolf's land between our packs. The adults go still. A few hands twitch toward weapons. No one actually draws. It would be a diplomatic nightmare to attack the Bright Pine Alpha's daughter in a children's training session. But the tension spikes, sharp enough to taste. Lyra, Rowan hisses under his breath, remember. I know, I mutter, because I do. Don't show fear. Don't look away first. Don't back down, not from anyone. So I stop 3 paces from Aldrich Thorn and tilt my chin up. You're standing on Bright Pine soil, I say. He blinks. Then looks down at his feet, at the strip of mud our elders have argued over for a decade, and back at me. I don't see your name on it, he replies. His voice is calm. Too calm. Older than his face. A few Shadowmoon kids snicker. The heat crawls up my neck. Bright Pine is stronger, I inform him, because that's what I've heard around the council fire my whole life. We run faster. We shift earlier. Our alpha actually cares if we live. Something flickers in his eyes at that, a quick, dark flash I don't understand yet. Then the grin comes back, sharper. If you're so fast, he says, prove it. He jerks his chin toward a towering pine with low, wide branches. The kind every kid wants to climb and no adult wants to untangle them from when they fall. Rowan mutters a curse. Our instructors exchange glances. No one steps in, not yet. This is politics disguised as play, and everyone knows it. Beat me to the top, Aldrich says, and I'll admit Bright Pine's better. And if I win? I shoot back. His smile widens. You won't. I hate him so much I can taste it. Fine, I snap. Try to keep up. We sprint for the trunk at the same time, hands scraping bark, boots slipping on old sap. The first branches are easy. I've been climbing trees since before I could shift, and gravity is more of a suggestion than a rule when you're a wolf-born kid. But he's good. He moves like he's already shifted 100 times, fluid and sure, as if the tree is just another form of running. We're neck and neck by the middle, branches whipping our faces, adults shouting from below to slow down, to come back down right now, young lady, to buy the moon, that thorn boy will be the death of me. Scared yet? He calls over. Of you? I laugh, breathless. You wish. We're near the top now, where the branches thin and sway dangerously. The wind is stronger here, carrying the scent of snow and wolf and something electric that makes the tiny hairs on my arms stand up. If we keep going, we'll both fall. We both know it. So I cheat. Hey, I say, pointing past his shoulder with my free hand. Is that your alpha watching? He flinches, just for a heartbeat, glancing down. I lunge. My hand slams onto the highest safe branch a split second before his. Bark bites into my palm. My legs are shaking, but I've done it. Bright Pine wins, I crow. He stares at me, breathing hard, hair wild, eyes molten. Then he reaches up, grabs a fistful of sticky black pitch from the branch above, and smears it into my hair. I shriek as gooey sap glues my curls together. I choke. That's for cheating, he says, and laughs, the arrogant little beast. I launch myself at him without thinking. We tumble together, branches snapping under our weight, the world spinning in a chaos of bark and sky and his startled shout. For a heartbeat, his chest slams into mine and our faces are inches apart. His eyes blaze gold again, matching something hot and wild inside me I don't have a name for yet. Time stops. Then the branch below us gives way, and we plummet. Adults catch us before we break anything vital. There's yelling. There's scolding. Rowan practically drags me home by the ear while I swear vengeance between gritted teeth and try not to cry over the tarred ruin of my hair. But that night, lying on my pallet as my mother mutters over my tangled curls and tries to cut the worst of the pitch out, I can't stop seeing his grin. His stupid, infuriating, fearless grin. I add a new line to the list of promises I whisper to my wolf when no one is listening. One day, I'll outrun Eldrick Thorn. I'll outfight him. I'll wipe that look off his face and make Shadowmoon kneel. My wolf hums approval in my blood. I believe her. By 13, hatred has sharpened into something with teeth. Our packs hold joint mock battles twice a season, a show of unity for the elders and an excuse for the heirs to test each other. Bright Pine versus Shadowmoon, claws sheathed but pride bared. I live for those days. We're in the frostwood again, this time in a ring chalked onto the frozen ground. Kids crowd the edge, breath misting in the air, betting scraps of jerky and extra training time on who will win. First to pin the other, the instructor announces. No shifting. No biting. No killing. His eyes flick pointedly to me, then to Aldrich. As if we're the problem. Aldrich rolls his shoulders, loosening them, and gives me that same infuriating half-smile across the circle. He's taller now, his angles filling into lines, his hair tamed only enough to keep it out of his eyes. When he stretches, I hear a couple of Shadow Moon girls giggle behind their hands. My stomach does a strange, uncomfortable twist. I shove it down. We circle each other, boots whispering over frost, waiting for an opening. You still mad about the tree? He asks mildly. I still have bald spots because of you, I growl. You look fine, he says, like it's nothing. It flusters me more than the insult ever did. I launch at him, aiming low for his knees. He pivots, but I anticipate the move, twisting, letting his momentum carry us both to the ground. We grapple in the dirt and frost, hands scrabbling for leverage, breath puffing in harsh bursts. Give, I hiss, pinning his wrist. In your dreams, he grunts, flipping us. We roll, locked together, until he suddenly hooks my ankle, knocks my leg out, and drives me onto my back. The air rushes from my lungs. His weight pins my hips, one hand trapping my wrist above my head, the other braced in the dirt beside my face. You yield? He pants. I open my mouth to spit something cutting. And feel his breath ghost over my throat. Everything in me goes quiet. His eyes are no longer the bright gold of a cocky boy in a tree. They're deeper, fiercer, threaded with something that makes my wolf rear up inside my chest in startled recognition. Without meaning to, I bare my throat a fraction in pure, instinctive submission. His pupils blow wide. Lyra, he whispers, voice shredded. Then he leans down, just enough that his teeth brush my skin. Heat detonates through me. My wolf surges, pressing against my bones, howling yes in a language I don't understand. The world narrows to the sharp, hot point of contact where his mouth hovers, not quite biting, but close enough that every nerve in my body screams more. Stop, someone shouts. The spell shatters. A strong hand hauls Aldrich backward. I scramble up, shaking, clutching at my neck as if I can erase the phantom imprint of his teeth. What were you thinking? Our instructor roars. No biting, Thorn. Do you want to start a blood feud? Aldrich's chest heaves. He looks as wrecked as I feel. His gaze flicks to my throat, then to my eyes, and whatever he sees there makes him pale. I didn't mean, he stammers, for once at a loss. Match is over, the instructor snaps. No winner. The other kids groan, disappointed. Rowan vaults the ring and comes to my side, scanning me for injury. I'm fine, I lie. I'm not. That night, I dream of him. In the dream, there is no instructor, no crowd, no rules. Just forest and moon and the two of us circling each other as wolves, fur brushing, teeth flashing. When he tackles me, I don't fight. When his jaws close around my throat, I arch into it, offering myself up with a soft, helpless sound that doesn't belong to the girl who swore to ruin him. I wake with my heart racing and my skin hot, my hand pressed over the place where his teeth almost marked me. I tell myself it's just fear. Hatred can feel like this, I decide. It can. It must. The lie tastes thin. Years blur into training, challenges, and clandestine fights. We stop pretending our nightly meetings in the Frostwood are accidents. We start timing them. If I don't show up, he'll track me, if he doesn't, I'll find him. We spar until our knuckles split and our ribs bruise, until sweat slicks our spines and our wolves pace just beneath our skin, desperate to break loose. Sometimes we end with one of us in the dirt and the other standing victorious. Sometimes we both end up flat on our backs, staring up at the canopy, laughing breathlessly like idiots who don't know they're standing on the edge of something lethal. We don't talk about almost bites. We don't talk about dreams. We talk about tactics. About which elders are fools and which might actually change things. About the border patrols and the rogues and the rumors of humans encroaching deeper into the forest. When he laughs, really laughs, not that smirk he wears like armor, it does strange things to my chest. I pretend not to notice. He pretends not to notice the way my eyes linger too long on the line of his throat. The frostwood keeps our secrets. For a while. I am 15 when everything changes again. The first snow of winter has melted into a chill drizzle on the day our packs share a lake gathering. It's meant to be neutral ground, a chance for trade and reluctant camaraderie. Banners flap in the damp breeze, bright pine green and shadow moon black, reflected in the dark, still water. I stand with the other bright pine youths, arms folded, hood up, pretending not to care about any of it. Then Eldrick walks out of the trees. He's taller, broader, the awkwardness burned out of him. His shoulders have settled into the confident line of someone who knows exactly how strong he is. His hair is still infuriating, but now it looks intentional, falling into his eyes in a way that makes half the circle of girls go quiet. He's in dark leathers that fit him too well, twin blades strapped at his back, the shadow moon crest gleaming at his throat. My stomach drops. I feel aware of him. Every step. Every breath. The air seems to bend around his presence. Close your mouth, Rowan mutters beside me. I'm not, I clamp my jaw shut. Aldrich's gaze schemes the crowd. For a heartbeat, I think he doesn't see me. Then his eyes find mine, and the rest of the world fades to fog. He doesn't smile. He just looks, like he's been searching since the moment he arrived and finally found what he came for. Heat crawls up my neck. I yank my hood lower and turn away, pretending to be fascinated by a knot in the dock's wood. I can feel his stare between my shoulder blades the entire time our alphas make their speeches. A shadow moon girl edges closer. Serene Kaler, slender, beautiful, every line of her posture perfect. I've seen her twice before at trade meetings, she moves like someone raised to be watched. So that's him, she says lightly, following my gaze. Your rival. He'd like to think so, I say, too sharp. Her lips curve. He talks about you. I nearly choke. What? Nothing flattering, she adds quickly, though the spark in her eyes says otherwise. But often. I don't have a response to that. Later, when the formalities are over and the elders drift into their negotiations, the younger wolves fan out along the shore to spar, gossip, flirt. The rain eases to a mist that turns the lantern light soft and diffuse. I tell myself to stay away from him. I last 17 minutes. He's by the waterline when I finally give in, hands braced on the dock, staring out at the lake like it has personally offended him. Trying to drown yourself with glaring? I ask, coming to stand a few steps away. Can't you go 5 minutes without provoking someone? He replies, but there's no real bite to it. Just exhaustion. Not if that someone is you. His mouth twitches. We stand in silence for a moment, the mist beating in his hair, the lake stretching out dark and endless before us. You've changed, he says quietly. So have you. He huffs. I meant, you smell different. I bristle. In a bad way? In a distracting way, he admits, eyes still on the water. My wolf preens. My human side decides now is an excellent time to panic. I shrug, trying for casual. Maybe you're just finally realizing bright pine is better. He turns then, full body facing me, and there's nothing lazy or mocking in his expression. Lyra, he says, my name coming out rough. I realized bright pine was trouble the day you tried to throw me out of a tree. I remember pitch in my hair, his laughter, that flash of gold in his eyes when we were 8 and neither of us knew what we were playing with. I swallow. A drop of mist clings to his lashes. His gaze drops to my mouth. The world narrows again, like it did in the training ring, only this time there are no instructors, no chalk lines, no rules. My heart is beating so hard I'm sure he can hear it. Don't, I whisper, though I don't know whether I mean him or myself. His hand lifts, fingers brushing my jaw, light as a breath. I realize, with a clarity that terrifies me, that if he leans in, I will let him. I will let him do anything he wants. I jerk back, breaking the spell with a brittle laugh. Careful, Shadow Moon, I say. Somebody might think you like me. He looks wounded, then angry, then shudders it all away behind that practiced smirk. Relax, bright pine, he says. You're just my favorite enemy. Liar, my wolf whispers. We don't kiss that day. We don't even touch again. But that night, I dream of his mouth on mine instead of my throat, and I wake with the taste of lake mist and regret on my tongue. On my 16th birthday, my mother gives me the red cloak. It's heavier than it looks, lined with soft fur, the color of fresh blood under moonlight. When she drapes it over my shoulders, the room goes quiet. With this, she says, fastening the clasp at my throat, you are no longer just my daughter. You are Bright Pine's future alpha. Pride swells in my chest, fierce and bright. My wolf howls in agreement, thrilled by the weight of expectation. I catch my reflection in the polished metal of my mirror, dark hair cascading over crimson, eyes sharp, jaw set. I look like someone who knows exactly who she is, exactly where she's going. I do not yet know that the same cloak will one day feel like a shroud. I do not yet know that 2 years from now, I'll stand in this forest again in this same red, watching Eldrick Thorne pledge himself to another alpha's daughter while something inside me quietly breaks. Back then, beneath the hood of my brand new cloak, I believed fate was a path I would run down and conquer. I didn't realize fate had been running toward me the entire time, sharpening its claws on every stolen fight, every almost bite, every look I pretended not to see. Back then, beneath the hood of my brand new cloak, I believed fate was something I could outrun. Fate proved me wrong a year later. I'm 17 when I hear the words that split my world in two. Eldrick Thorne is to be bonded to Serene Kaler. They're spoken casually, over tea, as if they're discussing the weather instead of dropping a blade into my ribs. Mother doesn't even look at me when she says it. She keeps her attention on the visiting envoy from the Kaler Highlands, voice smooth, diplomatic. It will strengthen our borders, the envoy says. Shadow Moon and Kaler united at last. I sit at the far end of the council table, technically only there as an observer, hands wrapped around a mug that's gone cold. The room tilts for a moment. I hear Serene's name, Eldrick's title, the word engagement, and then it's all just a roar in my ears. I make my face blank. Bright pioneers do not flinch. That is advantageous, I manage. Mother's gaze flicks to me, sharp as a knife, checking for cracks. I give her none. Only when the envoy leaves do I let myself breathe. Rowan finds me later on the training grounds, hacking at a dummy until straw spills out like spilled guts. You heard, he says. Everyone heard, I snapped, driving my blade in again. There will be feasts all week. Songs. Toasts. Endless speeches about unity and prosperity and how lucky Serene Kaler is. Rowan studies me for a long moment. You and Aldrich are rivals, I cut in. That's all. His eyebrows lift. Right. Rivals you sneak into the forest to brawl with twice a week. 3 times, I mutter before I can stop myself. He snorts. You going to the celebration? Of course. I sheath my sword with more force than necessary. Bright Pine supports the union, remember? We smile. We clap. We pretend it doesn't feel like someone just dug out my insides with a dull spoon. The last part slips out. Rowan's expression softens. Lyra. Don't, I warn, because if he says one kind word, I might shatter. That night, I go to Frostwood at our usual time. Aldrich doesn't. The clearing feels wrong without him, too big, too quiet. I pace a rut into the frozen ground, every snapped twig and distant owl making my wolf sit up, waiting. He never comes. For the first time in years, I train alone. The forest echoes with every blow I don't land against his chest, every insult I don't throw, every laugh he doesn't give back. When I finally stagger home, I taste blood and loss on my tongue. I tell myself it's better this way. If we stop meeting, if we starve the thing between us, maybe it will die. It doesn't. It waits. I am 18 when Shadow Moon opens its gates for the engagement celebration. Their keep rises from the trees like a dark spine, banners snapping in the night wind, black and silver, the moon crest glaring down at us. Lanterns swing from every archway. Music spills out, bright and reckless. My red cloak feels suddenly too tight at the throat. Chin up, Mother murmurs as we step inside. We're guests, not beggars. I know, I say, though my palms are sweating. Shadowman's great hall is a riot of sound and color. Wolves in formal leathers laugh and drink, the air thick with roasted meat, wood smoke, and something sharp beneath it, anticipation, maybe. On the raised dais, the high alpha of Shadow Moon holds court, Serene standing at his right hand. She looks exquisite, of course. Dark blue silk, silver circlet, hair braided with tiny moonstones. She glows like she was born to stand in the center of every room. And beside her, Aldrich. He's in black, the cut of his jacket severe, Shadow Moon crest gleaming at his throat. His hair is pulled back, jaw clean-shaven, every inch the composed air. He is smiling at Serene. It's a polite smile, the kind you give in public when eyes are on you. But it still feels like a knife turning. Serene laughs at something he says, hand resting lightly on his arm. I wait for him to glance my way. He doesn't. He looks everywhere but me, over the crowd, at the musicians, at his father, never once letting his gaze snag on the girl in the red cloak standing near the back wall, fingers digging crescents into her own palms. The humiliation tastes worse than the hurt. Fine, I think, fury rising to smother the ache. If he wants to pretend I don't exist, I can pretend just as hard. A shadow moon boy about our age sidles up to me. Kellen, I think his name is. Nice enough. Not Aldrich. That's the point. Bright Pine's heir, he says with a grin. Care to dance, or do you only fight? Both, I say. Try to keep up. We swirl into the crush of dancers. I laugh too loudly. I let Kellen spin me, dip me, hold me a fraction too close. When the music swells, I let impulse take over. I grab his collar and kiss him. Gasps ripple around us. The music stutters. Kellen makes a startled noise, then leans into it, hands tightening at my waist. His mouth is warm, eager, utterly wrong. Because the only eyes I'm searching for are gold. I break away, breathless, and there he is near the dais, frozen, watching. For a heartbeat, the world holds its breath. I see it hit him, the kiss, the laughter, the fact that I chose someone else's mouth on mine in his hall on his engagement night. His wolf surges to the surface. His eyes blaze molten gold. The air around him crackles. Serene follows his line of sight, her hand slipping from his arm as she realizes who he's looking at. I barely have time to straighten my cloak before he's moving. He cuts through the crowd like a storm, people stumbling out of his way. He reaches me, catches my wrist, and the contact is a shock, heat, static, that familiar current that has always hummed between us. What are you doing? I demand, because anger is easier than honesty. Fixing a mistake, he snarls. He drags me out of the hall, down a side corridor lit only by stray lanterns. I stumble to keep up, heart pounding, the sound of the celebration fading behind us. Aldrich, let go. He slams the door of a storeroom open, pulls me inside, and kicks it shut. The sudden quiet roars in my ears. For a moment, we just stare at each other in the dim light. You're engaged, I say finally, each word sharp enough to cut. You don't get to haul me around anymore. You don't get to kiss other men where I can see it, he fires back. I laugh, incredulous. You're promising yourself to Serene Kaler in front of both our packs, and you're angry that I kissed a boy at your party? Yes. The word is bitter, ragged, torn from somewhere raw. He steps closer. The storeroom suddenly feels much smaller. Do you enjoy humiliating me? He asks quietly. Is that the game now? Humiliating you? My voice climbs. You've been avoiding me for a year. You stopped coming to Frostwood. You wouldn't even look at me tonight. I was trying to protect you, he snaps. From what? Your fiancé? From this, he says, and the way he looks at me makes my breath catch. The silence stretches, heavy with all the things we've never said. I am Shadowman's heir, he continues, voice low. Serene's alliance is necessary. So am I just training practice for you? I ask. A bad habit you had to quit to make room for her? Don't you dare, he growls, closing the last of the distance. You know it's never been that. Do I? My throat burns. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you chose her. His hand comes up, fingers trembling as they hover near my jaw, not quite touching. His eyes are all wolf and man and torment. Lyra, he whispers. I have been choosing you my whole damned life. And then he's kissing me. There is nothing polite or practiced about it. It's a collision, a storm breaking. His mouth crashes into mine, hot and desperate, and all the years of almost and not quites and stolen glances detonate at once. I fist my hands in his jacket, dragging him closer. He groans into my mouth, one arm banding around my waist, the other burying in my hair under the hood. The kiss is bruising, breath-stealing, completely wrong and utterly right. My wolf howls in triumph, finally, 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 and for a moment I don't care about Serene or politics or the dozen elders who would skin us alive for this. There is only the taste of him, the way his lips soften then demand, the way he murmurs my name like a prayer against my mouth. We break apart only when air becomes necessary. Our foreheads press together, breath mingling, hearts racing. I've always seen you, he says, voice wrecked. Only you. The words lodge in my chest like an arrow. Then why? Because duty is a cage, he says bitterly. And I'm locked in it, Lyra. I thought if I stayed away, if I let this die, it would hurt you less when I walked into that bond. Newsflash, I say hoarsely. It didn't work. He squeezes his eyes shut, as if in pain. When he opens them, the decision is already there. I can't do this, he whispers. Not tonight. Not with all of them watching. I have to go back in there and pretend none of this happened. The words slice me open. Of course, I say. Wouldn't want to smudge your perfect alliance. His jaw tightens. For a heartbeat, I think he'll argue. Instead, he steps back. The space between us feels like a chasm. Forgive me, he says softly. Then he turns and walks out, leaving me in the dim storeroom with shaking hands and a mouth that still tastes like him. I didn't sleep that night. The celebration goes on until dawn, music and laughter spilling through Shadowman's halls. I stay in the guest room Bright Pine's been given, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second in the storeroom until my head throbs. I tell myself it's over. That kiss was an aberration, a crack in his composure that he'll seal shut with duty by morning. I'm almost starting to believe it when my door creaks open. I sit up, heart in my throat. Aldrich slips inside, closing the door quietly behind him. His jacket is gone, shirt half unbuttoned, hair disheveled. He smells like smoke and spilled wine and the wild edge of the forest. Aldrich, I whisper. What are you? I tried, he says, voice thick. I stood beside her. I smiled. I listened to our fathers talk about territory and heirs and treaties. I tried to pretend that when I kissed you, it didn't feel like finally being able to breathe. My pulse roars. He crosses the room in 3 strides and drops to his knees beside my bed, hands braced on the mattress like a supplicant. Tell me to leave, he says. Tell me this is madness. Tell me you don't want me. I should. Instead, I reach for him. The instant our skin touches, the world explodes. We fall into each other like we've been falling for years, like gravity has been patiently waiting for us to stop fighting. His mouth finds mine again, slower this time but no less intense, every stroke a question I answer with my hands, my breath, the desperate arch of my body toward his. There's nothing to be careful about now. No pretense. Just need. His wolf is right under his skin, I can feel it in the way his fingers tremble when they skim my throat, in the low sound he makes when I whisper his name against his jaw. Lyra, he groans. Are you sure? Yes, I breathe. Please. We move together, a tangle of limbs and heat and whispered curses. Clothing becomes an inconvenience, half pushed, half pulled away. The bond that has been coiled between us since childhood thrums, straining toward completion. When he rolls us so that I'm beneath him, his gaze drags to my throat. The room narrows to that point. I shouldn't, he rasps. I know. My voice shakes. Do it anyway. He lowers his head. His teeth brush my skin, exactly where they almost marked me in the training ring years ago. The contact sends a shockwave through me. My wolf surges, howling. I spread my fingers in his hair, guiding him closer. Mine, he whispers, the word half-growl. Yes, I gasp. He bites. Not hard enough to break skin. Not quite. But hard enough that the first threads of the mating bond flare to life, bright and searing, weaving through my veins. I feel him like a second heartbeat, a second soul wrapping around mine. I choke on a sob, overwhelmed. Somewhere outside, a door slams. Lyra? Rowan's voice, sharp with alarm. Lyra, are you? The door flies open. Time fractures. Rowan stands in the doorway, eyes wild, taking in the scene, my bare shoulders, Aldrich's body over mine, his teeth at my throat. He doesn't see an almost mate. He sees an attacker. No. I scream, but the venom blade is already in his hand, our ancestral dagger, its edge coated in poison meant to kill an alpha in a single stroke. Rowan lunges. Aldrich twists, instinct dragging him between me and the threat. The blade sinks into his side with a sickening sound. Everything stops. Aldrich's eyes go wide. His mouth opens in a harsh, shocked breath. I see the exact moment the poison hits his bloodstream, the way his skin goes gray at the edges, the way his body buckles. Rowan staggers back, horror crashing over his features. Moon above, he whispers. Lyra, I thought, I didn't. Aldrich collapses. His weight crashes onto me for a second, heavy and horribly limp, before I manage to roll him off, hands already pressing uselessly at the wound. Blood pours between my fingers, hot and slick. Too much. Aldrich, I choke. Stay with me. Look at me. His gaze fights its way to mine, unfocused. Lyra, he whispers. I'm sorry. Don't you dare, I sob. Don't you dare say goodbye. Footsteps pound in the hall. Voices rise in alarm. Someone yells for the healer. Someone else for the high alpha. I don't wait for any of them. All I can hear is the frantic, failing rhythm of Aldrich's heart. All I can see is a future where that sound stops. Deep under the panic, something else clicks into place. The Warden of Wishes. The words he once told a stubborn, lovesick girl in a dark stairwell, I can bend fate, little alpha, but it will bend you back. I smear blood off my face with the back of my hand and meet Rowan's stricken eyes. Get help, I rasp. Tell them a healer is coming. Tell them anything. Just keep them away from me for a little while. Lyra, where are you? To fix this. My voice cracks. To pay for what you just did. For what we did. I don't wait for his answer. I don't remember leaving the keep, only running. The night claws at my lungs. Aldrich's blood has soaked into my cloak, my hands, my hair. His scent wraps around me, fierce and fading. By the time I reach the crooked stairway that leads down to the warden's lair, my legs are shaking so badly I can barely stand. He's waiting. Of course he is. The door creaks open before I can knock, lantern light spilling out over stone steps. The warden stands at the bottom, old eyes sharp, taking in my state with a single sweeping glance. So, he says quietly. You've finally come to make your wish. He's dying, I blurt. Aldrich Thorne. Shadowman's heir. The word mate sticks in my throat, half formed, because the bond is only just beginning and might already be ending. I need you to save him. He watches me for a long moment. Beneath his calm, I sense something like pity. There is venom in his blood, he says. Old magic. Alpha-killing magic. No ordinary healer can touch it. I know. My knees hit the stone. Please. You told me once you could bend fate. Bend it for him. Take anything. Take me. Careful. His voice is gentle. You do not understand what you are offering. I understand enough, I snap, though tears blur my vision. I understand that without him, I don't want. The words choke out. I bow my head. Please, I whisper. Save him. He sighs, the sound like wind moving through dead leaves. All magic demands its price, he says. For a life like his, entwined with power, destiny, and a bond already reaching for you, the cost must be what you value most. I think of my mother's pride, my father's expectations, Rowan's trust. Then I think of the thing that has defined me from the moment I drew breath. My wolf stirs anxiously inside me, sensing the shape of the choice before I do. Not my life, I say hoarsely. You can't take that. If I die, it will kill him anyway. The bond. Not your life, he agrees. Not your memories. I am not so cruel. His gaze pins me. Your wolf, Lyra Vale. Your instincts, your bond to the pack, your place among them. I take that, and I can purge Aldrich Thorne's blood of venom. He will live. He will take breath and rise and continue to walk the path fate laid before him. And me? I whisper. You will be human, he says simply. Forever. My wolf recoils, a silent scream echoing through my bones. The warden watches my tremor, then tilts his head, nostrils flaring. His eyes narrow. Ah, he murmurs. Not just his life at stake, is it? That explains the urgency. My hand flies to my stomach, even though I hadn't let myself think the word yet. Child. Ours. The realization is a blow and a lifeline all at once. If he dies, the warden continues softly, the wolf soul within your womb dies with him. So you see, little Alpha, the bargain is already half struck. You are only choosing how you will bleed for it. The room sways. Aldrich's face flashes in my mind, laughing in the frostwood, scowling across a training ring, eyes blazing as he said only you in that storeroom. I think of a tiny heartbeat tied to his, flickering inside me like a candle in a storm. The choice isn't a choice at all. Take it, I rasp. Take my wolf. He searches my face. You are certain? No, I say honestly. But I'm doing it anyway. For the first time, something like respect enters his gaze. Very well. He reaches out, palm hovering over my chest. Breathe, he instructs. I do. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then pain. Not sharp like a blade, not hot like fire. It is absence made agony. A tearing, rending void that starts in my center and shreds outward, ripping along bones and nerves and all the invisible threads that tie me to my pack. I scream. I feel her, the wolf that has run with me since I was old enough to toddle, the other half of every thought, every instinct, ripped from my flesh. She howls once, a sound of pure betrayal and love and farewell, and then she is gone. Silence slams into me. Not just around me. Inside me. I collapse forward, hand slapping stone, gasping like someone drowned and dragged back wrong. The world feels smaller. Dulled. The scents of herbs and iron and old magic flatten. The warden's heartbeat, once loud and layered with emotion, is now just a muted thud. I reach for the pack bond by instinct, the humming web that has always thrummed at the edge of my awareness. Nothing. It's like stepping off a cliff and finding no ground. Easy, the warden says, his voice distant, as if through thick glass. It is done. My fingers claw at the floor. Tears burn hot tracks down my cheeks. I can't feel them, I whisper. I can't feel anything. You will learn new ways to feel, he says gently. For now, know this, his blood runs clean. The child is secure. He lives. The words cut through the numbness. Aldrich, I croak. I need to. I lurch to my feet too quickly. The room spins. The warden steadies me with a hand on my arm. Go, he says. Before someone decides your sacrifice was the wrong one. Shadowman's healers call it a miracle. One moment Aldrich Thorn is dying, veins thick with ancient poison. The next, the venom simply stops. His body starts fighting again. The wound closes faster than it should. His color returns. No one asks where I've been. Or if they do, Rowan keeps them away with snarls and lies. When I finally slip into the healer's chamber, my legs nearly give out. Aldrich is sitting on the edge of the bed, shirtless, bandage wrapped tight around his torso. He looks exhausted, but he's breathing. Alive. So painfully beautiful it hurts to look at him. His eyes light up when he sees me. Lyra, he breathes, pushing to his feet. They told me, I thought. He crosses the room in 3 strides and catches my face in his hands. The contact is wrong. Too muted. Too quiet. Like someone has wrapped me in wool. His scent hits me a second later, but it's not the sharp, layered explosion it used to be. It's faint, blurred, as if I'm smelling him through smoke. Panic curls low in my gut. He notices. What's wrong? He asks softly. Did they hurt you? Did Kaler? I went to the warden, I say, cutting him off, because I can't drag this out. He goes very still. You didn't, he whispers. I did. My voice trembles. I asked him to save you. His thumb strokes my cheek. Lyra, why would you? Because you were dying, I snap, the words bursting out. Because you took a blade meant for me. Because there is a tiny heartbeat inside me that depends on yours. Silence. His hands fall away from my face, as if I've burned him. A child, he says slowly. Ours. Yes. 100 emotions flicker across his face, shock, fear, awe, something like joy, but they all crash against the same cold wall when he realizes the rest. What did it cost? He asks, voice almost gentle. What did he take from you? I swallow. My wolf, I say. He took my wolf. The words hang between us, heavy as a death sentence. Aldrich takes a step back, as if to see me more clearly. His nostrils flare, inhaling. Recognition dawns, horrified, disbelieving. "Your scent," he whispers. "It's fading." Pain lances through me, sharper than the loss itself. I force myself to meet his eyes. "I can't feel the pack anymore," I say. "I can't hear my wolf." The bond we started, my throat closes. I don't know if it survived. He shakes his head, like he can deny reality by sheer will. "No," he says. "We bit. I felt it. I felt you. That doesn't just vanish." "Magic took it," I say, voice breaking. "Or whatever was forming of it. I don't know. All I know is that when I look at you now, it's quieter. I still care. I still love you. Gods, I love you so much it hurts. But the pull, the instinct, the certainty, it's gone." His face crumples. "Don't say that," he begs. "Don't. I cannot be your mate anymore," I whisper. He staggers as if struck. For a moment, I think he'll reach for me anyway. That he'll ignore everything, magic, politics, fate, and choose me like he did in that storeroom. Then duty slams back into place. His jaw clenches. His hands curl into fists at his sides. "I need time," he says roughly. "To think. To breathe." He strides past me before I can answer, shoulders rigid, leaving the healer's chamber like a man fleeing a burning house. The door closes behind him with a soft, final click. For a while, I just stand there, staring at the wood, waiting for it to open again. It doesn't. Slowly, I sink to the floor, back against the wall, hands pressed to the hollow ache where my wolf used to be. For the first time since the warden's lair, the reality of what I've done hits me fully. I saved his life. I saved our child. I lost everything else. A strangled sound tears out of me, not quite a sob, not quite a howl. It's just empty. I press my palm flat against my chest, fingers splayed over skin that no longer hums with shared voices, shared strength. The bond is gone, I whisper into the quiet. The bond is gone. I whisper it into the healer's empty chamber like a confession, fingers pressed to the hollow place in my chest where my wolf used to live. No one answers. They send me back to Bright Pine the next day. Shadow Moon calls it diplomacy. I call it exile. Either way, I leave Aldrich's territory in a carriage that smells like herbs and old leather, Rowan riding beside me like a silent shadow. He tries, once, to ask what happened in the warden's lair. I shut my eyes and pretend to sleep. Eventually he stops trying. The compound feels different when we arrive. Too bright. Too loud. Every footstep echoes. Every familiar face is a reminder of what I no longer am. I move through it like a ghost. The pack gives me space. Instinct, maybe. Even those who don't know the details can sense that something has been ripped out of me, something they don't want to get too close to in case it's contagious. My red cloak hangs on its peg by my door. I can't bring myself to touch it. Days blur. I eat because Rowan shoves bowls into my hands and watches until I swallow. I sleep because my body collapses, not because rest brings relief. When I wake, I listen for the low hum of the pack in my veins and meet only silence. On the third day, a storm breaks over Bright Pine. Thunder shakes the windows. Rain lashes the roofs. The guards shout at someone at the gate, voices ragged with nerves. I'm sitting on my bed, staring at nothing, when my door flies open. Rowan stands there, drenched, eyes wide. Lyra. You need to come. What is it? My voice comes out flat. A problem, he says grimly. By the front gate. Wearing shadow moon black and bad decisions. My heart stutters. Aldrich, I breathe. They've drawn weapons on him. Of course they have. He stands in the mud just inside the gate, rain plastering his hair to his forehead, clothes soaked, chest heaving like he ran the whole way. At least a dozen bright pine warriors surround him in a loose ring, blades bared, wolves pacing just under their skin. He doesn't look impressed. I said, he growls, I'm not leaving until I see Lyra. You're not giving orders here, Thorn, one of the guards snarls back. If you want him dead, that's one way to get it, Rowan mutters under his breath as we push through the crowd. Half of Shadow Moon is probably watching, waiting to see if we start a war. I don't care about war. Aldrich, I say. His head snaps toward my voice. For a second, the whole world narrows to the sight of him, dripping, furious, alive. His eyes rake over me, searching for something I'm not sure I've got anymore. Then he's striding toward me, ignoring the way swords lift in warning. Stand down, Rowan barks to the guards. If he was here to attack, we'd already be dead. Try not to embarrass yourselves. They reluctantly ease back. Aldrich stops a few paces away, as if afraid that if he comes closer, I'll vanish. Lyra Vale, he says, voice rough from shouting and rain. I have done something monumentally stupid. That's new, I manage, because sarcasm is easier than wondering why my heart is suddenly beating like it remembers how. He huffs a laugh that sounds half hysterical. I broke off the engagement, he says. My breath catches. You, what? Serene deserved better than a husband who was in love with someone else, he says quietly. So I told her the truth. She was generous. Furious, but generous. She'd suspected for years anyway. A rueful twist of his mouth. Our fathers were less understanding. I can imagine. Aldrich. I renounced my title, he continues, over the rain. Shadow Moon will have to find another heir. I'm done letting my life be carved up by people who never once asked what I wanted. The words hang there, shocking as lightning. You gave up your crown, I say slowly, for me. I gave it up for myself, he corrects. For the right to choose. It just so happens that every choice I've tried to make without you has been wrong. His jaw tightens. Wolf or no wolf, bond or no bond. I choose you, Lyra. The crowd has gone very quiet. He takes a step closer, hands open at his sides, a supplicant before an executioner. Here's what I know, he says, voice lowering for me alone. I know a blade meant for me went through my body because I put it between you and danger. I know you bargained away the thing that made you Lyra the Alpha to keep me breathing. I know you're carrying our child. And I know that every version of my future that doesn't have you in it feels like a lie. My throat burns. I also know, he continues, that the bond is damaged. Maybe gone. I can't feel you the way I did in that moment before the venom blade. But my feelings didn't vanish with it, Lyra. Magic doesn't get to erase what we've built for 10 years. He takes another step. We're close enough now that I can feel the heat of him through the rain. Wolf or no wolf, he asks, gaze steady on mine, will you choose me too? The answer is yes. It has always been yes. But fear curls its cold fingers around my ribs. Aldrich, I whisper. You don't know what you're asking. I think I do. You're asking to spend your life with someone who will never be able to meet you at a run again. Someone who will never shift, never stand at your side in a battle as your equal. Someone whose child may tear her apart from the inside just trying to be born. His eyes flash. We'll find a way. We don't know that, I cut in. We don't know anything. The bond is weakened, maybe broken. You could wake up one day and feel nothing. Or meet someone whose wolf sings to yours the way mine used to. His expression shudders, pained. That's not how. It is how, I insist, voice shaking. That's how wolves work, Aldrich. Instinct. Bonds. Destiny. I don't want to chain you to a human ghost out of guilt. He stares at me for a long, long moment. Then he steps right into my space and gently, deliberately, presses his forehead to mine. The contact sends a faint echo through me. Not the old, wild electricity, but a warm pulse all the same. Listen to me, he says softly. If the bond was all that kept me here, I would have stayed in Shadow Moon. I would have married Serene, worn the crown, and told myself fate knew best. I chose you the night I walked into your room. I chose you when I took that blade. I chose you when I walked away from power 3 days ago. His hand comes up to cradle the back of my head, steady and sure. I am choosing you now, he finishes. What you're really asking is if I'll regret it. I swallow hard. Will you? He smiles then, not the smug, infuriating grin of our childhood, but something softer. Sadder. Certain. Ask me again in 50 years, he murmurs. But my guess? No. The crowd around us fades to nothing. I exhale, a shuddering breath that feels like surrender and survival both. Fine, I whisper. Then yes, Aldrich Thorne. I choose you. The relief that flashes across his face almost undoes me. He pulls me into his arms. For a moment, with his heart pounding against mine and the rain washing everything clean around us, I almost hear my wolf again. Almost. The healer waits until the pack meeting to tell us the rest. We sit in Mother's council chamber, Aldrich at my side, Rowan hovering like a brooding storm cloud, Mother at the head of the table, fingers steepled. You are certain? She asks the healer. He nods, expression grave. As certain as anyone can be. The separation, his careful word for the mutilation of my soul, has made Lyra's body fragile. Carrying a shifter child will tax her far more than it should. Will the baby survive? I ask. Yes. His gaze softens when he looks at me. The wolf soul is strong. It clung to life even when Eldrick's faltered. But birth will be dangerous. For you. My mouth is dry. How dangerous? We can prepare. We can mitigate risks. But if the child shifts early, even by accident, he hesitates. Your human body was not made to withstand that. The room swims. A warm hand finds mine under the table, fingers threading through, grounding. Aldrich. And after, he asks. If she survives? The healer exhales. A human cannot safely raise a shifter infant alone. As the child grows, its instincts, its strength, there would be accidents. Without a wolf to match it, to teach it, Lyra would be at risk. So would the child. So what do you suggest? Mother's voice is brittle. We send the babe away? Rowan straightens in his seat. To me. We all look at him. I'm her brother, he says. And his uncle. I have a wolf strong enough to keep the pup in check and a pack to back me. Let me raise the child here, under Bright Pine's protection. Lyra can be part of their life, but the day-to-day training, the shifting, the dangerous parts, his throat tightens, I'll handle. The words cut and heal at once. Losing my child's daily warmth. Keeping my child alive. Aldrich's hand tightens around mine. And he asks quietly. What happens to Shadowman's disgraced ex-heir in this plan? You, Mother says, seem to have made your own choices already. There's no heat in it. Just weary resignation. Aldrich lifts his chin. I stand with Lyra. Wherever that is. Silence falls. For the first time, I see my mother's eyes soften when she looks at him. You would give up your pack, she says slowly, your crown, your future, to live as what? An exile? A bondless wolf on the edge of our forest? I would give it up to live with the woman who gave up her wolf for me, he replies. I think that's fair. Something inside me cracks. Not the numb, quiet shattering from before. Something warmer. Wet. Tears spill over, hot and sudden. The first I've allowed myself since the warden tore my wolf away. I press my free hand to my mouth, shaking. Aldrich doesn't hesitate. He pulls me sideways into his chest, arms wrapping around me, holding me together as sobs finally tear loose, raw, ugly, unstoppable. I've got you, he murmurs into my hair. I've got you, Lyra. Let it out. I cry for my lost wolf. For the bond that never got to fully bloom. For the crown I'll never wear and the pup I'll only ever visit. I cry until my eyes ache and my chest feels scraped clean. When the storm finally drains out of me, I realize my fingers are twisted in Aldrich's shirt, clinging like a child. He doesn't seem to mind. The healer clears his throat gently. There is one more thing, he says. Stress will not help. Lyra needs rest. Stability. A calm environment. I let out a wet, disbelieving laugh. You mean the opposite of everything my life has ever been. Exactly. His mouth twitches. Which is why I suggest you and Aldrich find somewhere quiet. Away from both packs. Somewhere you can start over. Alone? I ask. Not alone, Rowan says firmly. You'll be near enough for me to reach you if something goes wrong. But far enough that politics won't knock on your door every morning. Aldrich's hand strokes my back in slow circles. Then we'll go, he says. Wherever you'll let us. Then I will love you enough for both of us. The words slip out of him in a rough whisper, meant only for me. My throat tightens. I rest my head against his shoulder, eyes closing. Okay, I say into the fabric of his shirt. Okay. We'll try. We don't marry under the wolf moon. There is no pact gathered, no alpha's blessing, no bite sealing a bond the universe already wrote. Instead, a week later, we stand at the edge of the frostwood with only Rowan, my mother, and the healer as witnesses. The trees rise around us like old friends. Lanterns sway from low branches, their light soft and golden. My red cloak is back on my shoulders. It feels different now. Less like a crown. More like armor I choose to wear. Aldrich stands opposite me, hair tamed only enough to keep it out of his eyes, the shadow moon crest conspicuously absent from his throat. Rowan clears his throat. We don't have a script for this, he mutters. So you'll have to forgive any lack of ceremonial flair. Aldrich squeezes my hands. I'm fine with simple. He turns to me, eyes steady. Lyra Vale, he says. Wolves bind with teeth and destiny. I can't offer you that anymore, not the way we almost had it. His voice softens. But I can offer you this, my word. My choice. Every day, from now until the moon stops rising, I will wake up and decide to stand at your side. Even when it's hard. Even when it hurts. Especially then. Emotion burns hot behind my eyes. My turn? I say thickly. He nods. I take a breath that fills my lungs with pine and damp earth and the faint, comforting scent of him. Aldrich Thorne, I say. You used to be my enemy. Then my rival. Then the boy who ruined my life and somehow became the reason I wanted it back. My mouth trembles into a smile. I can't promise you destiny anymore. I can't promise an easy path or a bond that sings in your blood the way it should. His eyes glisten. But I can promise this, I continue. I will choose you, every day, even when choosing you hurts. Even when your past snarls at our door and my future feels too small. I will fight for you like I fought against you. Harder, even. Because you are my family now, Aldrich. Wolf or no wolf. The forest is very quiet when I finish. Rowan clears his throat again, suspiciously gruff. Right, he says. By the power vested in me as the brother who has had to watch this disaster in slow motion for a decade, I pronounce you, God's help us, bound. Aldrich laughs, a wet, disbelieving sound. Can I kiss my human bondmate? He asks. You'd better, Rowan says. Otherwise all of this was for nothing. Aldrich cups my face in his hands. The kiss is different from the one in the Shadow Moon storeroom. There's no stolen fierceness, no edge of panic. Just warmth. Steadiness. The quiet certainty of two people who have already survived the worst and are still here. When we pull apart, the lanterns seem a little brighter. We leave Bright Pine 2 days later for a cottage on the forest's edge, where the trees know our names and politics feels very far away. A year passes. Our child, our son, as it turns out, lives with Rowan in the Bright Pine compound, surrounded by cousins and chaos and the endless patience of an alpha-in-waiting who never asked for this and never once complains. We see him often. We watch his first shift from the safety of the training ring, my fingers digging into Aldrich's arm as our boy explodes into a tangle of paws and ears and wild joy. He is beautiful. He is terrifying. He is safe. Our cottage is small. There is a hearth that always seems to have embers glowing, a narrow bed we share, shelves lined with herbs and books and small carved wolves Aldrich whittles when he thinks I'm not watching. The frostwood leans close around us, its shadows more comforting than threatening now. We hunt together sometimes, Aldrich in his wolf form, sleek and dark, me with a bow and stubborn human legs that have learned how to keep up. I miss my wolf. I always will. Some days the grief hits hard and sudden, I'll reach for a sense I no longer have and stumble, breath catching. On those days, Aldrich pulls me close and reminds me of everything I still am. You're more than what they took, he tells me, every time. And slowly, I start to believe him. The red cloak hangs by our door. It's faded at the edges, singed in one spot from a stray spark, stained with old mud. It has seen battle and heartbreak and magic and birth. It has seen me fall and rise. I slip it on one crisp autumn evening as the moon lifts over the frostwood, silvering the trees. Aldrich steps up behind me, sliding his arms around my waist, chin settling on my shoulder. Regretting it yet? I ask softly. Choosing me over a crown? He kisses the curve of my neck, where the bond mark almost was. Not even a little, he says. Our son is with Rowan tonight, terrorizing the training grounds. The cottage is quiet, the air thick with wood smoke and the scent of stew, the future stretching out in front of us like a path through the trees. I look at the cloak, at the forest, at the man who followed me into exile and stayed. They took my wolf. They denied me my crown. But they could not break me. For love claimed me long before destiny ever could. If this story caught your attention, subscribe and join us for the next chapter.